How you guys doing? Let's start with my top 10 best movies of 2021. I've done a worst list, and I did that list early because I kind of knew all the movies that would be on my worst list. Though, to be honest, I would have waited so I could put the new Matrix on it, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I knew it was going to be bad, but not as bad as it turned out to be. But holy shit, that movie is terrible. But we'll start with my top 10 best movies of the year, and let's start with bottom 10. Let's start with number 10 at the bottom. This one is not a great movie. It has flaws, but this is a movie I've watched 5 times, and holy shit, do I love this movie. And it's not perfect, but here we go. Army of the Dead. I put Zack Snyder's Justice League on the worst list. A lot of people might be mad because they're like, come on, really, the worst list? But and they might label me a Zack Snyder hater, but I put this one at number 5 because I think this movie's great. I think there's some issues, like I don't like the lens flare and how kind of ugly the movie looks, but whatever. And there are a couple moments that are a little ridiculous, but it doesn't really matter because what this movie is, it's a zombie heist movie. I don't really take it too seriously, and I have a great. It is the most fun movie of the year. See, I have a lot of movies on this list, and a lot of these movies on this list are not movies that I'm like, oh, that's fun, but I really liked the movie, so I'm putting it. I really like the movie, but it's not necessarily the most fun movie. Because sometimes a really good movie is not a movie that's necessarily fun. It's just a movie that has something deeper to say to it or whatever. So I kind of, have movies like that, but I also like fun movies too, like this. So I'm putting this at number 5 to represent, those movies out there that are kind of fun, just straight up fun. Number 9 is, surprisingly enough, I'm putting In the Heights here. I thought this was going to be closer to my top 5. But honestly, watching The Heights a second time, it was good. Really liked the movie. I had the poster on my wall. Fan of this movie. Love the music. But I don't think I get quite as much out of it as I do on a second rewatch. But I still think it's a pretty good musical. It's really beautifully directed, and the performances are all good. The actual music itself was great. Just not one of the better musicals that have come out this decade. Well, actually, I would say it's one of the better ones because we don't have a lot of them. But I would say, there's stuff like La La Land, which I love a lot more than this one. So, it's kind of number 9 here. Number 8 is a movie that came out in February and was my number 1 for many months of the year. But honestly, I couldn't believe that how much it backed down over the months passing. But that is Judas and the Black Messiah. When they did the Oscars, I thought I wanted this to win. Best Picture did not, unfortunately, but I thought this movie was completely engaging. It was beautifully shot. The cinematography was absolutely gorgeous. All the performances here were really interesting. It's a really interesting character drama with this character, spying on the Black Panthers, and he gets assassinated and what's going on. And there's a lot of interesting drama and conflict that is really interesting to watch, and it's a beautiful movie, and I think it's a great time. And it's interesting because it's a movie that was not made before, certain recent events, but it almost feels like it was, if you know what I mean, if you're not reading the subtext of the movie. So yeah, I really love that one, and that's number 7. Number 6 is Ron's Gone Wrong, and I think this was a really terrific movie. I didn't really expect this movie to be as good as it was. I saw it twice. This movie has a really great message to it. The animation, not the prettiest animated movie on this list, but definitely one of the funnier ones. I laughed a lot during this movie. It's very clever, very inventive. It's a story you've seen before, but this is such a new, interesting, fresh take on it, and it's really great. And it went under the radar, I think, because of its title, but if you haven't seen this one, you gotta watch it. It's fantastic. So there's Ron's Gone Wrong at number 6. Number 5, I'm going to put I'm gonna put I'm gonna put Scooby Doo Straight Out of Nowhere, because I feel like these Scooby Doo movies go on under the radar a lot. I kind of just want to put one on my list, and this was the best one they put out this year. It was between this one, the King Arthur one, and this was the better one. Really captured the spirit of courage. There was a couple moments that were a little weird, like Eustace's rap in the middle of it, but I think it was a very good job at capturing the spirit of both franchises and them coming together. And if you're a fan of both, they're excellent and you should watch them. So definitely, that's number 5 on this list. Number 4 is Encanto. I've seen this movie twice now. I saw it once in theaters and once second time at home, and the movie only gets better, I would say. I think I love this movie a whole lot. It's one of the few times I'm excited about a Disney movie, which I'm usually not, because they don't put out as good a quality films anymore as I would like them to, and this was one that really caught me off guard and shocked me with how good it was, and I loved it, and I liked the story, the message, the themes to it. It's really good. It's really clever, and it has so many layers to it that are really interesting, and it's a really good mystery throughout most of the film, and I will not spoil it for you, but definitely a fantastic movie. Number 3 on this list is Minari. This might be a weird one for some people, because Minari, actually, we're going to put this as a tie. It's going to be Minari and The Green Knight. And Minari might be a weird one on this list because, it came out early 2021 in theaters for me to watch, but it was released at film festivals before that. But honestly, this is a great movie, and if you haven't seen Minari yet, you definitely should. They're both really I'm putting them both here because they're kind of both A24 movies. I like Minari as an easy to watch film. It's a really interesting family drama about this Korean family, and what they deal with. Beautiful movie. And then we also have, The Green Knight, which is a epic medieval fantasy that's beautifully shot, has amazing cinematography, and just incredible. I watched it a second time before I made this list. Absolutely adored it. Great film. So I'm putting this at number 3. These two at number 3. And then I'm going to have another tie at number 2, which is... Actually, we'll save that for number 1. I'm going to switch them. I'm going to put Mitchell's vs. the Machines right here. Mitchell's vs. the Machines is honestly just so good. I've seen this movie 3 times. It laugh out loud every single time. It's such a great, inventive, animated movie. I love movies like these. These are always some of my favorites. I love the Lego movie in Spider-Verse, and this is kind of similar style and humor to those, and I really love those types of movies, so I had to put this movie here. Just absolutely adored this film, and yeah, I just cannot believe how great this film was. I guess I'm just going to put a couple films here right at the top, and I'm going to put Come On, Come On, and I'm going to put Last Duel at number 1. These are films that I had seen in theaters, and I left saying those are good movies, and I definitely would watch them again, but I don't really know how much I love them. These are films though that the more they sat with me, the more I fell in love with them, especially Last Duel, because the movie caught me off guard with what it was saying. I thought this movie was kind of an exploitation on the idea of what happens when you are victimized and raped, like this character in the movie, and it made me sick and uncomfortable in a good way, though, as this story should be told in that way, because it's the most respectful way to tell it. And it was very interesting on that front. Really went in some directions I didn't expect, but that's why I kind of didn't enjoy it as much. I didn't really expect where this film was going. Didn't really like how much it re-showed similar events, but the second viewing that made a lot more sense and contextualized things a lot better. Come On, Come On was really interesting because on first viewing I was actually kind of bored by it. I got what it was going. I kind of got the gist of what it was going for, but the more it sat with me, it made me think about when I was a kid. The idea is that this uncle is taking care of his nephew, and his nephew gets in all these gets into trouble, has all these issues, and I couldn't really decipher exactly what all this meant, like why are we watching these things. But the more I sat with it, it was like kind of made me think about when I was a young kid, and how if I just walked off for a second I could get into serious trouble, and then it was like, things like that. It was a really interesting film, and I really enjoyed that. Joaquin Phoenix performance in it was amazing. So I think that's kind of my top 10 list. Not every one of these movies on this list is 10 out of 10 movie, but these are just like my favorites of the year. Ones I love the most. Some of these I definitely think are pretty 10 out of 10 movies. Some of these lesser than others. Like, I don't think this movie right here is a 10 out of 10 movie, but for the kind of movie it is, I think it's great. So, you guys can let me know your thoughts, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.